25. For I received from the Lord that which I also delivered to you, that the Lord Jesus on the same night in which he was betrayed took bread. And when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, "Take it, this is my body which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me." In the same manner, he also took the cup after supper, saying, "This cup in the new covenant in my blood, this do as often as you drink it, remembrance of me." May God add a blessings in reading of his word.
We begin with a word of prayer. Lord, once again we ask that we might hear your voice, not as a distant thing and unclear, but very close and very near our hearts. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. They forgot, but we are asked to remember. As we read, do this in remembrance of me. Of whom? And we know the me is Jesus himself. It is neither right nor is it safe to forget what the Lord has taught us, to forget what he has done for us, and to forget what he expects from us. Those three go together. So my question as we begin is, how is your spiritual memory today? Both short-term and long-term. When we celebrate communion, and today is Communion Sabbath, we do it to remember something critically important, something that affirms our salvation today and our hope for the future. We remember Christ's sacrifice for our salvation. That's very, very basic. Most of us have heard that countless times. But what does it mean? Do we actually focus on something we've done many times? We're done. And we go to lunch. Is that all it is? Is that all it is? What is it that we are supposed to remember? And do you remember? I'm trying to hone down to the very basics here. We cannot remember something unless we actually learned it or experienced it, right? Someone meets you for the first time. Do you remember me? Of course not, right? But if you had met them before, then hopefully you have recall for that. God's people in ancient times and all through history got themselves into desperate situations when they forgot to remember. Israel drifted into apostasy, open, rampant apostasy, and got in serious trouble every time they forgot the Lord. The history of their experience is recorded in the Bible in great detail for you and me to read. And the Bible says this, now all these things happened to them as examples, and they were written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the ages have come. That's us. Why is that all in the Bible? For us. So we can learn from their successes and from their mistakes, and by God's grace not repeat those mistakes. So the Bible exhorts and encourages us to know the Lord, know his word, learn vitally important spiritual lessons, and to remember them, not to forget. Here are some examples of the importance of remembering. Most of this message this morning is from the Bible, not from my digesting of it. And the Bible says this, beware, lest thou forget the Lord, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt. Oh, that has nothing to do with me. I've never even been to Egypt. What is Egypt? It was literal for them, but what does it symbolize? Bondage. It is God who has delivered us from bondage to Satan, bondage to sin, bondage to bad habit. If indeed make you free, you shall be free indeed. Ye shall not go after other gods, of the gods of the people which are around you. And not just go, I'm never going to be, here's Buddhism, Shinto. I'm not going to do that. Or there are all kinds of idols. Things that we put first. The God of education, the God of the job, the God of the person we're in love with, the God of the family, the God of my hobbies, the God of my own face in the mirror every day. Don't go after those. Otherwise, you forget the Lord. Ancient Israel was surrounded by competing religions, competing philosophies, and lifestyle temptations. When they forgot what they should have remembered, the relationship with God suffered and their spirituality plummeted. The principles and spiritual issues they experienced remain the same for God's people today. It hasn't changed. Times have changed, the appearances have changed, the mentality maybe has changed, but we're still at war in the red battle of the great controversy. So the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. They forgot the Lord, their God, and served the Baals and the Ashtoreth. We can say, why did they do evil? Because they forgot the Lord and remembered everything else instead. And when they forgot the Lord their God, he sold them into the hand of Sisera, commander of the army of Hazor, into the hand of the Philistines, into the hand of the kings of Moab, and they fought against them. God has showed me some works and some wonders in my life and in the testimony of others. But I forgot that. Yeah, I remember now. It's dangerous to forget. That's why we are asked to remember. They remembered not. Now, there's a different way of saying they forgot. They remembered not his hand, nor the day when he delivered them from the enemy. And we repeated this morning the phrase that people do all over the world now, and it's become a phrase. Does it mean anything that God is good? Or have we forgotten? Oh, God is good all the time, but not right now. My life is a total shambles, isn't it? Because we forgot. And when we forget, that's what awaits us somewhere down the line. No matter what life may throw at us today, right now, if we remember that God is good, if we remember his hand in our life, yesterday, last week, last year, that will help us get through the darkness that we are experiencing today. They forgot God, their Savior, who had done great things. And he didn't just do great things, he did great things for them. They were filled and their heart was exalted. Therefore, they forgot me. What does that say? When life is good, when everything is going smoothly, when the bills are paid and the income comes and the job is great and the family is nice and your spouse loves you and everything is rosy and the cherry blossoms are in full bloom, that's the time we forget. And that's the time we begin taking steps in the wrong direction and realize, whoa, this is a dead end. I got to turn around and go back and continue on the proper road where I'm supposed to be. So the Bible says, bless the Lord, O my soul. You read that, right? And what? And what? Forget not all his benefits. Or we could say it positively. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and remember all his benefits. And those benefits, you know the song, Count the Many Blessings? We should really do that from time to time. Take a piece of paper and list it down, all the blessings. And if you sit in front of the paper saying, I can't think of anything, it's because you forgot. I challenge you to do that. Try to make a list of the blessings of the Lord. And if nothing comes, it's
because you have forgotten, or maybe never realized in the first place how good God really is. That they may set their hope in God and not forget the works of God, but keep my commandments. There it is. Don't forget. Inspiration, well, before we go there, one more. Get wisdom, it's important. Get understanding, very important. Do not forget, nor turn away from the words of my mouth. God is challenging each one of us today. Inspiration has these words to say. They forgot God and lost sight of their high privilege as His representatives. Do you realize it is a high privilege to be a representative of God? From time to time, we are honored to have those who work as an ambassador or some government official come and fellowship among us, and we're great for that. And I've always appreciated, so far in my experience, none of them have come in with a sign flashing. Here's what I am, they just come humbly worshiping the Lord. Thank God for that. But when we lose sight of the fact that it is a high privilege chosen by Almighty Creator God to be His representatives in the world, wow, that is to forget a lot. We must put it into our brain. To forget that. The blessings they had received brought no blessing to the world. What does that mean? They received it, they consumed it, and that was the end of it. They never turned around and shared it with other people. They thought, well, this is just for me because I'm so nice. All their advantages were appropriated for their own glorification, talking about ancient Israel. They robbed God, wow, of the service He required of them. And they robbed their fellow men of religious guidance and a holy example. But they spent their time from hopeless slavery. We read these words. They forgot their bitter service in Egypt. They forgot the goodness and power of God displayed in their behalf in deliverance from bondage. They forgot how their children had been spared when the destroying angels slew all the firstborn of Egypt. They forgot the grand exhibition of divine power at the Red Sea. They forgot that while they had crossed safely in the path that had been opened for them right through the ocean, the armies of their enemies attempting to follow them had been overwhelmed by the waters of the sea. How could they forget such miracles? How can we forget the miracles of God in our lives? So Jesus told His disciples that night 2,000 years ago to remember His sacrifice. How do we do that? By celebrating communion. It is no accident if you came today not knowing it would be communion. God wanted you to be here today to remember, because we so easily forget. There are those who come, go through the motions, know exactly what to do, what to say, how to do it, and then it's like any other day. This is an holy. There's not that many things that are holy. God is holy. God's word is holy. His law is holy. The Sabbath is holy. Marriage is holy. Communion is holy. Baptism is holy. This is a holy ordinance. And when we come into the presence, when we come on the ground where something holy is happening, what did God tell Moses when he came into the presence of that burning bush? Take your shoes off. You're on holy ground. Don't bring that junk from the world in here. Take those thoughts. Forget about that. Well, what do I do? My brain is so... Remember. Focus your mind and remember what Christ has done. God has been telling his people to remember important things for thousands of years. And those who were closest to God learned to remember. We go back in time to this man. Remember him? Enoch. He walked with God. He honored God in every affair of life, in his home and in his business. He inquired. He asked this question: will this be acceptable to the Lord? And especially today, we need to ask what we do from now. Will this be acceptable to the Lord? And by remembering God and following his counsel, he was transformed in character and became a godly man whose ways pleased the Lord. And what happened to Enoch? It says he was not, for God took him. One preacher put it this way: Enoch spent most of his life walking with God. And one day, while walking with God, the Lord said, you know what, Enoch? We've been walking together for a long time, and I think you're closer to my home than yours. Come home with me. And God took him, and he was not. The first human being to be translated, taken to heaven without ever tasting death. Remember, Matthew is Bible for our exhortation and admonition. You and me, and to give us real life. If we think we have been living without Christ, we're not living yet. Haven't even entered the introduction. Heaven gave everything it could to secure you and I a place with God for eternity. That's a marvelous theme to contemplate. So today we remember, and it is my appeal to each one of us: don't forget. Don't forget. We will, at this point, as reverently as possible, go to several different places. Families and men will be in the basement to have the foot washing service. Women will remain in this room. Now, I ask three things. One, that you go and return reverently, remembering what it is we're about to do. Don't just skip down the stairs. Hey, we're going to, this is a holy ordinance. And when you partake of it, maintain that holiness. If you're going to say anything, say something that is a word of admonition and encouragement, something spiritual that befits the service. What would you say? Will this be acceptable to the Lord? And the third thing is, as we separate and come back, let's do so quickly. We are under time constraints. The Japanese congregation celebrated last week because the Japanese pastor, it's his last Sabbath today. Right after we're done, they need this room for a farewell for him. So I have told them we will try to be finished by 12:15, which is later than usual, but they are not also doing communion. So we need to move as quickly yet reverently as possible. So at this point, where you need to go, thank you.